Hi, everybody. Try to maybe just wait a few minutes to give some people, if they decide to do this live, some time to get logged in. I know that quite a few of you are not able to catch this live, so I won't wait too long, but I would like to wait just a little bit. Hey, Dana.
Hi.
Good to see you.
It's great to be here.
I'm going to take just a couple minutes to see if we get some other people that decide to come on live. I'm actually going to go get a cookbook, and I'll be right back.
Sounds good. Josh
Okay.
is literally kicking my butt.
All right. Yay. It's a good thing, right?
Yeah, he's good. I really like him. So
Awesome. Awesome. I'm so glad. I can tell your body's just really shaping up. I saw you get out of your car earlier today, and it was just like, wow, it's just so neat to see just continue to change every time I see you. It's pretty cool. Proud
thank
of you.
you. Thank you. I'm feeling good, so I'm happy with everything, and
Good.
so
Good. Well, um, when are you going to be, like, how much longer will you be here for?
I move on May the 2nd.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot sooner. Okay, that's soon. Okay. Okay. Yay.
Not too much longer. I still haven't found a place to live, but I have a job, so I mean, we're
That's
getting there.
great. That's great. Well, what part of town are you thinking about going to?
Probably Overland Park, Lenexa, Olathe, that kind of area.
Okay. Okay.
But I'm not against Prairie Village or Leawood or Mission. I'm up in that. I mean, that's all kind of in that area right there.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Hi, Lucy. I was just kind of waiting for like 5 minutes just to allow a couple people a chance to log on. I figure I start like 5 after each time. I know that there's quite a few people that can't catch this live, so it seems like it's only like 3 or 4 people that do it with us, which is totally fine. So I don't want to wait too long, because for the people that are catching it live, they're going to have to work their way through this. But
sure.
yeah, but I've got a lot of good information today that we're going to talk about, just to kind of help us to set ourselves up for, like, when we're kind of getting to this place where it's hard to know like what to prepare each week. And maybe you've had to go out of town, or maybe like you're in a position to where, you're just getting stuck. The kids have all these different appointments and all these different things going on, and you're maybe falling off the wagon because you didn't have something prepared ahead of time. I want to try to help equip you on how to, like, officially set your kitchen up in such a way that you just almost always have the ability to prepare something. And yes, it would be a great idea if you set yourself up in a way to where you know, sit down on a Friday and you write out the recipes that you're going to make for the next week, and you write out a grocery list based off of those recipes. Of course, that would be a great way of going about it. By all means, continue to go that way if that's working for you. But for those people that just get super busy and they just really struggle to create those lists and they struggle to get to the store, I want to try to equip you on how to set up a pantry how to set up a freezer and how to set up a refrigerator so that you basically always have something that you could prepare. Like you're never in a position to where you can't, prepare something. And I'm going to have some meals here. So we're going to go through freezer, we're going to go through fridge, and we're going to go through pantry. And then I'm going to have some meals that we can just pull together with all of these items that we will be building our freezer, building our pantry, and building our refrigerator with. So again, the idea would be, and this came, to me, I don't know, a couple years ago when I, had a client that was basically like, well, we've just been traveling a lot. And what happens is I get home and I just have absolutely nothing that I can prepare. And I get that. I mean, we go to Florida and I come home and I have to think about like, what are we going to eat for those first couple of days when we first get home? Because I mean, we're just getting home. So, we're only going to have so much time. And when we first get home, we have to unpack all of our things and we're pretty exhausted. But like, I've been thinking about that from the moment that, before we even left for Florida. So like, I know exactly what I need to have in my refrigerator at home for when we get home from Florida. And I'm actually in the car having grocery delivery deliver that so that it's available. And then I might even make something in Florida that I'm taking home with us because we do take a lot of stuff with us. And I'm taking it home with us so that I know that we have it. But in that circumstance, if I was flying home from Florida, that wouldn't be an option. So I'm going to talk you through items that could be in your freezer. And then as soon as I would get home from Florida, I could take 3 of those out of the freezer. I could have those thawing while we're unpacking all of our things. And then we could all sit down to a good meal, that would really help, us to be able to not have to go through a drive-through or ultimately eat at a restaurant and eat something that, we wouldn't like to eat. And these situations are going to happen. It's inevitable. And I just want to kind of build that scenario for you. So first thing I want to talk about is how to build that freezer. So like, what would we be putting in the freezer, to really be able to build up and to just always have things that we could go for? First thing would be our vegetables. So our vegetables would be, green beans, broccoli, rice cauliflower. You can get bell peppers that are frozen. So green pepper, red pepper, yellow pepper. You can actually get those pre-chopped and frozen. It's an excellent way. Sorry, excuse me for a second. It's an excellent way of not having to worry about like having, for omelets or for, just being able to saute with other vegetables, for not having to worry about chopping up a pepper and dicing things up and just knowing that you have something automatically ready to go. That's an excellent way, is buying them frozen. Whole Foods sells those. And I know that Fresh Time sells bell peppers frozen. I don't know that Deerbergs does, and I don't know that Schnucks does. So that's just something, to consider, because you may or may not find that from those places. Oh gosh, hold on one second. You're a little trickster is what you are. Okay. All right. Come here. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought she was trying to tell me that she needed to get water, but instead she was trying to tell me that she wanted to go around the corner and start eating her bed. So anyways, okay. So as we're building that freezer, those frozen vegetables, like I said, I just went through the peppers. You can buy frozen chopped onion. Yes, I know you're capable of chopping an onion, but again, I'm working on convenience. And when I go through those meals that we're going to build with these, I'll help you to better understand why we're going to go ahead and buy these items this way. Frozen mushrooms that are already chopped, frozen carrots, beef, chicken breast, chicken wings. Oh gosh. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. Chicken wings, chicken thighs, turkey, salmon, cod, frozen fruit, zucchini noodles, frozen. I'm not sure if you guys have ever bought those frozen, but zucchini noodles that are frozen, almond flour wraps, and almond flour pizza crust. We keep those in our freezer. Almond flour wraps you would ultimately keep in your refrigerator, but we keep those in our refrigerator, in our freezer on the regular, so that we can just buy like 3 and 4 packages of those, and because Costco sells them, and then whenever we need them, we'll take a new package out and then we'll put that in the refrigerator. Most of these things that I'm listing in this freezer, the green beans, the broccoli, the cauliflower, the peppers, the mushrooms, the onions, the carrots, I'm buying multiple packages of those. So if you, I have a deep freeze down in the basement. I have a refrigerator freezer down in the basement. And then I have my regular refrigerator and freezer upstairs. If you're looking in that freezer, you're going to see like an entire section of green beans, an entire section of broccoli, an entire section of rice cauliflower. It might take you time to build this freezer. It's not like you're going to go out, and you're going to buy all this at one time, but every shopping trip, you buy a couple extra bags of frozen vegetables, a couple more extra bags of frozen vegetables. And now you're building that freezer, and we're going to work with this as we build meals. But right now we have a really good solid base so that if and when we're not able to prepare something and we're in a situation that we really need to be able to just grab and go, we're going to be able to do that because we've already set ourselves up to have that type of freezer and to have all that we need in that freezer. Now, I'm going to move over to the refrigerator, and then we're going to move on to the pantry. And so for the refrigerator, I want you to think of this as, yes, likely things that we're going to use on a weekly basis, but hey, nobody. Likely things that we're going to use on a weekly basis, but also we're still kind of building a base in the refrigerator as well. So as we shop, we're going to buy these things a little bit each time so that we're kind of building this framework to where we always have that ability to, build a meal like that if need be. And it'll be a healthy meal. It'll be a meal that you could prep that would prep you for a couple of days. It'll be a meal that your entire family can eat. Okay, so for a refrigerator, and I'm going to share these lists with you. Applesauce, unsweetened applesauce, unsweetened coconut milk yogurt, a head of lettuce. Also could do almond milk if you didn't do the coconut milk. This is just kind of what we typically do. A head of lettuce, like a whole entire head of lettuce, a cucumber, avocado mayonnaise, a package of romaine. Okay, so romaine lettuce, a tomato, just one good sized tomato, or some grape tomatoes, like a little container of grape tomatoes. The celery, carrot, onion mix. Buy one of those every single week. Deerberg sells those. I get one of those every single week. Mushrooms. I typically get organic sliced portobello mushrooms because I'm going to use those in something. It's just a given. I automatically buy the mushrooms every single week. A red pepper, a green pepper, a yellow pepper, an orange pepper. I usually buy one of those every week. I order through Ship, and I have a, basically an order again section. All of these items are in that order again section. Onions, I'll usually do white onions because it's just like I can work with a lot of different things with that. Occasionally, I'll do a red onion, but for the most part, I usually just buy white onions. Okay, if I know I have like a very specific recipe that I'm going to do that's going to call for a red onion, then I'll get a red onion. But for the most part, I just buy white onions. But when I buy white onions, like I'll buy 3 of them, and that'll carry me through a couple weeks. Might not. I mean, I might make enough things that I might eat 3 onions, in the week. And as I talk about these meals and us structuring those meals, you'll kind of know why I could potentially end up going through, boy, this little doggy is on a rampage tonight. I'll tell you what, she has not usually ever been this hyper before.
Quick question, Debbie.
So, yeah.
You said white onion. Do you ever use yellow?
Occasionally, yeah. And that's just really a taste preference. It's not so much that it's like, cause I like red onion and things too. It's just really what you think is most common that you're going to use. And I just want you to have a bank of them in the fridge so that we can just go, we can just go to this. Like we just know we have this. We know it's going to be easy to grab. So we've got like boom, boom, boom that we can make because we know we have this and we know we have that and we can always grab that. So, you know, if we plan ahead and we have all of our recipes wrote out, then of course we can, you know, because we wrote out, we're going to need this, this, and this. But if we don't have time to do that, if that's not the kind of week we're having, you may live in a life where you don't ever have time to do that, then this is a great way to kind of build that base. But yes, yellow onions is perfectly fine if that's your preference. Now, the other thing that I keep, and you don't have to keep this, but the other thing that I keep is shallots. I think that shallots are a much more kind of, I guess, like not as strong of an onion. It's a much more mellow taste to it, just not so strong. And so I like to have shallots, and I'll talk to you about kind of where I use those and how I use those. But I just have one or two. You got to remember with onions, like they're going to last you probably 3 good weeks. So if I get a couple of shallots in there, it's going to last me probably 2 or 3 weeks and still be good. And so I'm, you know, if I don't use the shallot this week, it's no big deal. I'll probably use it next week. And since I see it in there, I'll probably end up using it because I know that I have it. Okay, so fresh garlic. I always buy garlic in the jar. Get garlic in the jar. It doesn't have any bad oils in it. It's organic. You know, it's just easy to get that minced garlic because then you can just reach in there and get you a tablespoon out of there, and then it's easy. I personally don't typically buy garlic anymore, like fresh garlic anymore. I'm not saying don't. It's just for me to be able to have this big jar and know that I can always go to that. Now I'm only having to buy garlic once a month because I get this big jar of it and it's easy. You know, it's just easy. Also look at Costco for that because I think you can save some money on that. You just always want to look at your ingredients on that garlic because it can have bad oils in it. Dijon and yellow mustard. So I'm looking at both of those. I usually get mine at Whole Foods. They have a Dijon mustard, the 365 brand, that is delicious. It is so good. It doesn't have any bad ingredients in it. And when I go to Whole Foods, I only go there like once every 6 to 8 weeks. I will go and buy like 12 of those mustards. I'm not kidding. And then I stock my shelf in the basement. And then I usually will keep like 4 of them in my pantry. But then I'll stock the shelf in the basement where I have all these extras. That way I don't have to go to Whole Foods all the time. I do that with the, you know, the tomato sauces and the things like that. No sugar ketchup. Heinz makes a no sugar ketchup. Now Primal makes one. You know, there's a couple of them out there. I've just found that the Heinz one, it's made with stevia. I actually really like that one. I will buy 4 and 5 of those so that I know that I really only have to get those things once a month. That's available at Deerberg's. Hot sauce. I use Frank's hot sauce. You could use Tabasco. You could use Cholula. Salsa without sugar in it, without beans, without corn. Those are all options as well. And then your primal dressings. So your primal dressing and or mayo. I did put that mayonnaise in the refrigerator. So I have that in the refrigerator section. I have the dressings in the refrigerator section. But you know, you could stock those in your pantry to just know you always have backup. One thing I will say is that John will, like with that head of lettuce, I'll make myself salads for the week. And then all my extra lettuce, I will always have a Caesar primal dressing in the pantry. And he'll just grab that Caesar dressing and any extra lettuce that I have. We get him that vegan cheese. Let me just look it up real quick because I actually don't have that on the list. Let's look this up together. Hope you guys don't mind. Just want to be able to tell you if you want dairy-free cheese. Okay, there's Daya, but we actually get the Violife, Violife, Violife. And I think I actually wrote down Daya on here, but we get the Violife cheese. And so he'll get like the Parmesan shreds, like the Violife Parmesan shreds. And then any extra lettuce I have, he goes in the pantry, he grabs one of our extra Caesar dressings, and then he just makes himself Caesar salads with that. And he'll just kind of do that periodically throughout the week. When he wants to just kind of feel more full, he'll make one of those Caesar salads. Okay, the other thing, moving right along on this list, is almond milk. Oh, I did write vegan cheese shredded, so it could be the Dia or the Violife. Turkey pepperoni, the uncured turkey pepperoni, all different types of fruit, lemons, oranges, lime. I always buy at least probably 3 lemons. You're going to use them. Or I'll just buy a bag of lemons. 1 orange, because we don't eat the orange. We actually use it as zest, or we use it to kind of juice over carrots or something like that. And then 1 lime. We'll use the lime for a pot roast. We'll use it for a Mexican cauliflower rice. If you have it in there, your mind's going to open up to other things. If you don't have it in there, you're not going to be able to be near as creative. So that's kind of, from a fruit perspective. And then the citrus, the lemon, the orange, and the lime. Of course, eggs. Another thing that I do with eggs is I buy a bag of hard-boiled eggs. You don't have to do this. If you have the time to hard-boiled eggs, then, you go ahead and hard-boil your own eggs. I don't have the time to do that. So I buy a bag of those. And then that's going to be great. When John makes that salad, we can dice up one of those hard-boiled eggs and put it on that salad. If Sophie wants to make like deviled eggs and bring that for her lunch, we'll get the a Primal mayonnaise, and we'll make her deviled eggs, and she can bring those for lunch just for something different. So she kind of feels like she can get creative. We've made egg salad before, chop up those hard-boiled eggs and make an egg salad. Just putting a little celery, a little onion, and a little bit of dill relish. And then we wrap it up in lettuce wrap. So I like to buy the bags of the organic hard-boiled eggs, just so you know. I just rinse them really good. And then barbecue sauce. So the Primal barbecue sauce, the Primal buffalo sauce, any of those different sauces, so that we just know we've got some options. Although that barbecue sauce is one that I always keep in my pantry, because I definitely do some different stuff with that barbecue sauce. And then, of course, having hot sauce or having the buffalo sauce from Primal. Now, when I go into the pantry, that's where I have a very long list. And you're going to look at this and you're going to be like, holy cannoli, Debbie, that's a lot of stuff to stock my pantry with. It is, but just remember, this is not the kind of stuff that you have to buy every week. Once you buy this, maybe you buy it at Costco and kind of stock on it. Once you buy it, you're not necessarily going to have to probably buy it for another month. If you buy a couple of them at a time, you might not have to buy it for another couple months, so it's just building that pantry. I definitely have a built pantry right now. It has taken me a minute to get to that point, but I definitely have a built pantry, and I can just go in there and I can just work, with what I've got, and then build recipes from that. Now, what I will tell you is I have an Excel spreadsheet. Yes, this all sounds like, whoa, that's going to take a lot of time. It doesn't. You just create the Excel spreadsheet. You don't ever have to create it ever again. And I have everything on this list on that chart. Okay. And then all I have to do is just go down and just check lists when I'm looking at my pantry of what I need. So I'm looking for things and I just check a list, check a little check mark next to what I know I'm going to need. And then I sit on my computer and I go through the Ship app. And I'm looking at my list and I'm just connecting with the buy again, because I've already bought these things. If it's new, then of course I look it up. Okay. So for the pantry, Rayos marinara pasta sauce, we get that at Costco most of the time. That's where we get the best price. It comes in like a 2-pack. And I don't just buy a 2-pack. I literally buy 4 of them. That way I know we're good for a while. Okay. Canned chipotle peppers. When I go to Whole Foods, I get these and I get like 12 cans of them. That way I have them for those 8 weeks until I'm going to go back to Whole Foods again. Now, they're in a sauce and I don't like what's in the sauce. So I take that chipotle pepper out and completely rinse the sauce off. And then I mince those chipotle peppers. I put it in my rice cauliflower. I put it in my soups. I put it in my pot roast. I put it in a sauce that I'll make to go over chicken or to go over salmon. I have those chipotle peppers and use those for so many things. And then quinoa, gluten-free oatmeal, pumpkin seeds, pecans, walnuts, Oh boy, this is fun having a puppy. Pecans, walnuts, cashews, almonds, pistachios. Now, what I do with those nuts is I have this big canister that I picked up at Williams Sonoma. I created a post where I did a video showing those not too long ago. And I take my cashews, my almonds, my pistachios, and I put all those in one big container. And then I just mix all those up. That way it's real easy to go in there and just grab a mix of nuts. Then I have a container of pecans and then a container of walnuts. And that just kind of helps me to, okay, for baking, my walnuts and my pecans. And then here's mixed nuts. My family likes to eat the combo of all those nuts. Then almond butter, cashew butter, that stuff will last you a month. So getting 2 jars of that so that you don't have to keep getting it. Nowadays, you can get that at Costco, and it's a good quality version. Dill pickle relish. I always have 2 or 3 jars of dill pickle relish. I showed you guys this recipe in the beginning where I made almost like that Big Mac sauce. I made it with that dill pickle relish, and that's in the news feed for you guys. I make tuna salad with the dill pickle relish, egg salad with the dill pickle relish. John will just barbecue hamburgers over the weekend, and we'll just put ketchup and mustard and dill pickle relish on there. It'd be like having pickles. I also like to saute onions that are finely diced. And then I take that with yellow mustard and dill pickle relish, and I make a sauce for our hamburgers. So good. It reminds me of Steak and Shake. So dill pickle relish, olive oil, the liquid version and the spray version. I never, ever buy 1 bottle of olive oil. I buy 2, if not 3. And then that way I'm covered for a couple weeks. I just know I'm good almost for the month. I'm almost buying a month's worth of those oils. Okay. And then avocado oil, same exact thing. I always get our avocado oil at Costco. Definitely save money by getting our avocado oil at Costco. The spray and the liquid. The liquid is in a bottle that is like, I'm not kidding. It is every bit this big and every bit this wide. It's a glass bottle and it's organic. And I used to buy, this skinny of a bottle and then this tall of one. And I paid the same exact price for that skinny bottle as I pay for this big giant bottle. I do usually always get at least 2 of those. And anything I have that's kind of like, that I'm buying like 10 or 12 of something, I just stock them in my basement on a shelf. So it's kind of like a back stock. But then in my pantry, I like to keep like 4 or 6 of those, so I'll do that so that, I have like what I need for the first couple weeks. And then I'll go down to the basement for the extra things. Coconut oil. I get a big, large container of coconut oil and then collagen. So I always have all my collagens. And when I order collagen, I always order more than 1 tub of collagen. Like I order multiple tubs of collagen. So collagen, that way, and I actually keep it in a drawer underneath my coffee maker. So I have a big pull-out drawer, and I have my vanilla collagen and my unflavored collagen and my chocolate collagen. So we can make our coffee lattes with that. But then I also keep my Vitamix in the cabinet that's right underneath the coffee pot. And so like everything's kind of in its own area, and that just makes it so much more convenient. So when it's time to make smoothies, it doesn't feel like it's so overwhelming. Like I got to go over here and I got to find my Vitamix and I got to get the other part to it over here. And then I'm running over here to the refrigerator. And then where in the world is my protein powder? And where's the flaxseed oil? My coffee pot's right by the refrigerator. So I just keep that Vitamix right there. And then I keep all those powders right there. And then I have my Barleans in the refrigerator and my almond or my coconut milk. And then it's so easy to either make coffee lattes or to make a protein shake. Everything's very conveniently located. And to me, that's just the time savings. I'm going to be more likely to do it because I'm making it as convenient as possible. Okay. Then coffee, tea, almond flour, coconut flour. I have 2 big canisters for almond flour and coconut flour. I always want to have plenty of that because I might want to bread my chicken. I might want to make cookies. I might want to make, all different types of pancakes or, just different options. If I don't have, or muffins, if I don't have the almond flour or the coconut flour, I can't just spur of the moment do those things. So if I keep a big canister of that, then I can definitely do those things. Let's see. And then arrowroot powder. I like to use that arrowroot powder when like something needs to be thickened. So maybe I've made a pot roast and I just want to kind of make, almost sort of like a gravy, but I just want to sort of thicken what I'm making. Or if something calls for like a tablespoon of flour, I'll just throw that arrowroot powder in there and I just put it in its own little glass container. And then I always have that to go to. Now that she's been completely rotten, now she's laying in the dog bed, like just staring at me like she's like this perfect angel. She's just looking at me like, I'm perfect. I don't ever do anything wrong. But what she's actually done the entire time is try to eat the table that the computer's on, and then try to eat the table that the lamp is on. And then she yelled at the people out. Anyways, she's done a lot of things. So just so you know, she's not the perfect angel that she's acting like right now, but really, she actually is a really good dog. I'm pretty thankful. I am so lucky. Okay. Baking soda, baking powder. I always have a container that I store those in. I don't know. I just take them out of the container. I put them in my own little glass container, and then my pantry feels really organized. And then it's like, I don't know. I'm just telling you these things because I actually don't mind cooking, and I'm a really busy person. I love to cook, but I'm a really busy person. I mean, I have 2 companies. And so for me to cook, like it has to be a pretty efficient thing. And if I open up the pantry and I can't find anything, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, and I'm struggling through bags and I'm trying to figure out, where do I even have arrowroot? Like if I do, where would I have even put it? Like I am out. Like I'm done. I'm not cooking the muffins anymore because I don't have time to try to find it. I'm like over it. We're just not going to have muffins at that point. So I had someone come. Her name is Beth in Cisco, and she is amazing. And I will share her information in our group. She redid my pantry and labeled everything. And she got these clear plastic bins and everything went in there. And oh my gosh, it just turned my whole entire world upside down. Like it was a remarkable thing. She's incredibly reasonably priced. Like I can't even believe she charges what she charges for what she does, because it's incredible. So reasonably priced. I had her come back and organize every kitchen cabinet that we have, every single kitchen cabinet, because I have people that work out of my house, take care of my dogs, and they do things. They work for us. So they work out of my house. And, my house would just become a mess because one person would put this thing away over here and the next person would be putting it away over there. And then I finally get home. I don't even know where any of my stuff is. She has it organized. She has dividers in my drawers. She has labels for where things go. It's super organized. What I find is that there's just a credible amount of calm and peace that comes with that. So well worth the investment. But to be honest with you, it really wasn't even that much of an investment. I'm kind of blown away at what she charges for that. So I'll share her information. Alcohol-free vanilla. I always have 1 to 2 bottles of that, just because it's, I get it at Williams Sonoma or I get it on Amazon. I just want to kind of have enough of it. Or as soon as I get to half a bottle, I'm already ordering the other bottle, or maybe that's something you put on a subscription. Onion powder, black pepper, oregano, cumin, chili powder, dill weed, sea salt, Italian herbs, thyme, parsley, paprika, cinnamon, Mexican seasoning, garlic powder, cayenne pepper, beef bone broth and chicken bone broth and vegetable broth. I always have 4 chicken broth, 4 beef broth. Why 4? Because I can make a soup anytime I want if I have that much. I can always make a big pot of soup if I have 4 of those. I keep vegetable broth because I just think that you can do some things with that. Like you can put it in as you're cooking your vegetables. You can add it to, different things that you're maybe crock potting. Like I just always have one of those vegetable broths just in case, but 4 of the chicken and 4 of the beef. Again, do I go out and spend $1,000 at the grocery store and buy all this at one time? I really don't. But when bone broth goes on sale and it's a really good price and I'm going to save $3 off of each container, I buy like 12 of them. And then I've got that stock down in the basement and then I've got my 4. So it's not like I'm having to buy 4 every week. I might only have to buy 4 every 2 months because I am just buying it as I see it at a really good price. Okay. And then let's see, getting down my list here. So went through all those spices with you. Sea salt, Italian herbs, thyme, parsley, paprika, cinnamon, Mexican seasoning. So that's one that's like, I like the Frontier brand. That's just a Mexican seasoning. That's how we would make tacos. Garlic powder, cayenne pepper, your bone broth, your vegetable broth, and then canned diced tomatoes. I have multiples of those because I use those for soup. I use those for chili. I use those for pot roast. I use those for sloppy joes. Okay. Then canned tomato sauce, canned tomato paste. Okay. Coconut aminos. I always have a bottle of coconut aminos in my refrigerator. And that way, if anything calls for soy sauce, I can always use coconut aminos. If anything calls for teriyaki sauce, I can always use coconut aminos. Canned coconut, if you do Whole30 recipes, you're going to run across coconut aminos. Now, let's just recognize coconut aminos is still pretty sugary. So if you're in a weight loss position, watch yourself on coconut aminos, just the amount. Like if you're making something and there's 8 servings in there and you put a tablespoon of coconut aminos in it, not that big of a deal. But if every time you eat, you're taking the bottle of coconut aminos and drizzling it on top of that, that's going to be too much sugar. So just want to watch yourself on that. Okay. Canned coconut cream. I immediately put that in the refrigerator when I get it because I'm going to want to make some whipped cream with it, and it needs to be solid. Canned coconut milk. I keep that in the pantry. Okay. So as soon as I buy the coconut cream, it goes in the refrigerator. It might keep some backup ones in the pantry, but I'm always putting 1 to 2 in the refrigerator so I can make whipped cream for my family anytime that I want to. Canned coconut milk. That's going to go in the pantry, and that's going to be more for making a cream of broccoli soup, making a chocolate mousse, making a casserole with chicken that is creamy. That's going to allow me to get that creamy base because it's just a little bit thicker than like the jug of coconut milk would be. Canned tuna and water. I did write down bananas. I don't normally recommend ever eating bananas, but a lot of times I'll buy 1 to 4 bananas just in case I decide to make a cookie. I decide to make, a brownie or something, and I'm going to use that banana instead of sugar. Okay. But we're not just sitting eating the bananas. Canned black olives, canned green chilies. I have a taco casserole that I make, and it has the green chilies and it has the black olives, and you put your peppers in there and your onions in there, and I put a little celery in there, and then you just put your chicken in there and you cook your chicken with it, or you can even put hamburger in there, but I just cook chicken with it, and then it's like a taco casserole, and you put salsa on top of it, and you put guacamole on top of it. But if I have those canned black olives and those canned chilies, like I can always make that because guess what I have in my freezer, which we're going to talk about this. Okay. Then red wine vinegar, apple cider vinegar. I get the That's It fruit bars. Those are strictly just fruit, and they're just bars, and that's all they are, is fruit. I have those for when we're on the fly and we're in the car and we've got a meat stick and we have the That's It fruit bar, and then we have a baggie of nuts. If that's all we can get our hands on, or if we're going to be in an airport, if we're going to be in a place where we know we're not going to be able to get anything for a while, like Silver Dollar City or something like that, then we can bring the meat sticks. We can bring the That's It bars. And then we can bring the nuts. I usually order our meat sticks online, so I don't really have those on here. But Costco is a good place to order meat sticks. We just usually do chicken or turkey meat sticks because if we're going to eat beef, we're going to make beef. Like we're going to make a roast. We're going to make hamburger. We don't usually do that in a stick. So I usually order the new Primal, the brand, the new Primal. I order those online because you can just get them cheaper than just getting them at the store. Because you can buy them like by the big box. Chia seeds. Ground flax, if you like them, canned pumpkin, canned pineapple. I use canned pineapple for all sorts of things. I make dressings with a little bit of the canned pineapple that I blend up in the blender and make it just a little bit sweeter. I put it on top of, I dice it and I put it on top of salmon with lemon when I bake it. So, just having a couple of those cans, you can kind of work with that is great. Making little salads with them. And then hearts of palm noodles. I love keeping those in those little packets. Aldi sells them. I love keeping those in the pantry, and I can just grab those real quick if I'm in a hurry and I just want to put a little marinara sauce. I can add my ground turkey or my ground chicken, add all that together. That's a great option. And then I shared a link to this earlier, and that's parchment sheets. And those parchment sheets that I shared, those are the size, the exact size of a sheet cake pan. They're so perfect. They just lay in your sheet cake pan, and then you don't have the mess on your sheet cake pan. So that's a great option, is those parchment sheets. Okay, now the second list that I'm going to share with you is going to be just all the different things that we can do. Okay, so instead of just sharing one recipe with you this week, I'm sharing like a ton of ideas of things that we can do. Now, my cookbook, a lot of you own this cookbook. A lot of recipes are this is a really good cookbook. So this is going to be like meats and vegetables and soups and chilies. This is the Mastering Your Nutrition with Integrity cookbook. That's a really good one to have. We sell them here at Integrity. Or you can order it online on our website. Now, first thing I have on here is chicken soup, vegetable soup, or chili. Now, first things first, when we make these in our big Le Creuset pot, which is what I do, you are going to have so much left over. You're going to feed your family. It's going to be a great dinner. You're going to have so much left over. That's when we get our freezer bags out. This is such a good thing. Fill it up. Fill those freezer bags up with your soup. Fill it up with your chili. Get it in the freezer. When I get back home from Florida and I don't have anything set up for us, I'm going to get a bag of rice cauliflower, put in my skillet, even though it's frozen. I'm going to start cooking it down in some oil. I'm going to start running some hot water in my sink over my soup or over my chili. And if I got my chili thawing, I'm going to throw it over that rice cauliflower, or I'm going to thaw some frozen zucchini noodles. And I'm going to throw those inside the chicken soup that I've made, or the rice cauliflower inside the chicken soup that I've made. So if you make a big vegetable soup or you make a big chicken soup, anytime you think that you're taking on a virus, perfect time to go in the freezer and grab that soup so we can get that bone broth in you. Very healing for you. The chili. How are we making this soup so easily? Our carrot, our celery, our onion mix that we buy every single week. So at any given time, it's a chili starter and it's a soup starter. How else are we making that vegetable soup and that chicken soup? Well, I have rice cauliflower because I don't really want to use noodles. That's going to be my noodles for the chicken soup. I've got frozen chicken. Even when I have leftover chicken, I could freeze it and then just take that frozen chicken, thaw it, and then just chop it up and put it in my soup. Okay. If I'm making vegetable soup, I can get my canned chopped tomatoes. I can get the cabbage, the big headed cabbage, any of that extra lettuce and put that in there. I can get frozen green beans and put that in there, frozen carrots and put that in there, or I'll just put my carrot, celery, onion mixture in there. And then all my spices that I bought. Chili, that's where I use my red pepper, my green pepper, my orange pepper, my yellow pepper. I'm going to dice all those. Deerberg sells them pre-diced, but I'm just going to buy those whole. I'm going to dice all those, and I'm going to use them in my chili. Along with, in my chili, I always add carrots because I like a little sweeter taste. I always add celery. I always add onion to it. Sometimes I add sweet potatoes. Now, I did not have those on the list, but by all means, buy your sweet potatoes. They're going to last if you keep them in your pantry for 3 good weeks. So they're not going to go bad on you. That way, anytime you want to have a sweet potato, you just grab a sweet potato. In fact, I'm going to write that down for pantry. Sweet potato. I'll write that down for you guys. Okay. And then tomato soup. So tomato soup is really easy to make. Your tomato sauce, and I have the recipe in my cookbook, your chopped tomatoes. It's a super simple thing to make in your crock pot. But if you have all those items, you can make your chili or your tomato soup very easily. Sloppy Joes, you can make that super easy because you're going to have in the pantry, in the freezer, your hamburger. You're going to have in the refrigerator your peppers, your onion. You're going to have in the pantry your chopped tomatoes, a little bit of tomato sauce, and then some spices to kind of spice up that sloppy Joe. And I've got that recipe in my cookbook. Cream of broccoli soup, your broccoli that is frozen, okay, and then your onion and your garlic, and then your coconut, your canned coconut milk. So easy. You made your cream of broccoli soup there, but you've always got these things. So at any given time, you can make this. Your meatloaf, your ground turkey, your peppers, your onions, your chopped tomatoes, all mixing it together with herbs and spices. We've made a meatloaf. Taco casserole, I talked about that earlier. The chilies, the black olives, the chipotle pepper, if you want to have a little kick to it. And then all your peppers that are diced. You could easily, if you like them, you could easily buy 2 yellow pepper, 2 orange pepper, 2 green pepper, 2 red pepper. And I guarantee you could use those a couple times during your week. A baked chicken. So when I order from Fed from the Farm, you could order a whole chicken. You could order chicken breast, however you want to bake it. But I like to just bake a whole chicken in my big pot. And then I just put different vegetables like the carrots, the celery, and the onion in with it. I put olive oil on it, garlic. I put different spices. I squeeze lemon over it. And I just throw it in the oven and let it bake for 2 or 3 hours. I've shared that recipe with you guys. You guys have that recipe in here. Just scroll down. Baked turkey breast. If you've got those frozen, you don't make it any differently than I just shared the chicken. And you could add sage to that if you wanted to, poultry seasoning if you wanted to, ground beef or ground turkey with cauliflower rice. So just like beef and rice or ground turkey and rice. You've got your cauliflower rice. You've got that meat that's already covered in there. We can put some hot sauce on it. We can make one of those sauces like I told you about, like the Big Mac sauce that I shared in here. There's a lot of different things we could do. We could use your barbecue sauce, ground beef with zucchini noodles, and some of the Rayo sauce. So it'd just be like meat and noodles. Salmon with pineapple and lemon. So I talked to you about that. I just cook it, literally, that's in my cookbook, but I cook it with lemon slices on it and chunks of pineapple on it. And I just bake it. That's how I bake it, with some olive oil. That's it. There's nothing, salt. I put some salt on there, might spread a little dill across it. And that's it. That's how I make it. Tuna or chicken salad. If I've got the hard-boiled eggs, if I have the dill relish, if I have the avocado mayonnaise, I can make that egg salad anytime I want. I can also make that tuna salad because I've got that in the pantry. I'm going to chop up a couple hard-boiled eggs with it. It's going to be delicious. Chicken salad. If I have leftover frozen chicken, I'm going to grab it. I'm going to thaw it, chop it up, make a chicken salad with it. Or I can order a rotisserie chicken. Deviled eggs. Told you. Avocado mayonnaise, mixing it up just for something different. Pot roast. I usually, from Fed from the Farm, order 3 of the, what are those called? Chuck roast. I order chuck roast for pot roast. Reason I order chuck roast is because I feel like I can take the fat and like very easily separate the fat. In other roasts, I just feel like it's so marbled. It's very difficult to get that fat out of there. Chuck roast, I feel like there's just like big segments of fat and I can just take it right out. But with the pot roast, Like I can go into my pantry, I can get chopped tomatoes, I can get my lime and do lime zest. I can squeeze lime juice over it. Then I can throw my garlic, my onion powder, a little bit of cayenne pepper, a little bit of hot sauce in there, and I make a pot roast. Super, super easy. Then barbecue pulled chicken breast in the crock pot, cooking it in either the chicken bone broth or just water, letting it cook for 6 to 8 hours, draining it, shredding it, and then putting an entire bottle of that barbecue sauce on it. Chicken thighs, boneless, skinless chicken thighs, putting it in the crock pot, letting it cook the same way, whether it's in water or it's in the chicken bone broth, letting it cook and then draining it and then shredding it and then using the primal buffalo sauce and putting a whole bottle of that on top of it and then making shredded chicken thighs. That's going to kind of taste like chicken wings. If we have chicken wings in our freezer and we thaw those, we can throw those in the air fryer after rolling them in some olive oil and some of that primal buffalo sauce or just simply some Frank's hot sauce, and then just throw them in your air fryer. Great way to make them. So are we going to get more creative with our recipes than this? Sure. I mean, you're going to look up Whole30 recipes. You're going to have all sorts of things that you're going to make over time. But the reality is that all of these things can be made, all of them, based off of just having that pantry set up. And this isn't even including desserts. We could make coconut pancakes. We could make a muffin with our fruit in the refrigerator and our almond flour. We could make cookies, because we have all this ready to go. Our baking soda, our baking powder, our almond flour, our coconut flour, our eggs, our vanilla. We already have everything we need. We've got our coconut oil for our butter. Everything's ready to go. We're not going to have a difficult time making any of this. We just got to decide, what are we making tonight? We've got all these things available. Freeze your stuff. Any extra stuff that you have, get it in the freezer. It is so helpful for you to just be able to grab a couple of things, thaw it out in some hot water, and know you have a go-to. Just know you've got something on those days that you didn't have time to prepare. Now you don't have to run through a fast food line and end up getting something that is not going to be good for you and you're going to regret having. So we want to make sure that, you set yourself up for success. And there could be plenty of other things added on this list. This is just truly what I feel like has been helpful for my clients over the years. And we just talk this through, on the phone together. And I just kind of give them that, that basic idea of like how they can build these concepts. And it really, truly has made a difference for them over the years. So hope and pray that this helps you guys. I really just wanted to dig into the possibility of not being able to use I don't have the time to prepare as an excuse, because once you get this stuff built, you've got really quick and easy things that you can grab. Like those mushrooms, those onions, saute those down and add them with some sauteed rice cauliflower. Add your pot roast on top of that. If you have some leftover pot roast in the freezer, grab that out. All you need to do is make some cauliflower rice. Then you can freshen up that pot roast that you had, have it with that mushroom and onion cauliflower rice. I would also use a shallot in that position. My peppers, I can saute those down with an onion and make those with my cauliflower rice, use my Mexican seasoning and make a Mexican, version. A lot of that stuff is in this cookbook, just so you know, but just kind of sharing ideas. It doesn't have to be like a specific recipe. It's truly just, I'm going to use a little bit of peppers. I'm going to use a little bit of onions. I'm going to use a little bit of spice. And then the next thing I know, I have a recipe. So I hope this helps you guys. Praying blessing for each of you, really getting some good dialogue and questions through our discussion group in the news feed on this. Appreciate everybody chiming in and supporting each other. When you have ideas, if you've got questions and you have, just looking for everybody to kind of support you through that question, position it out there in the group. Let's all help each other with those answers. And I look forward to talking to you next time. Thank you so much for listening, guys. God bless you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.